Hello, all of you beautiful people, and welcome to the sexy pilot episode of the Snarkzuki podcast. I'm here, DavidHazuki Hopkins. That's the Zuki part, and joining me is the lovely Darkwing Snark. Ta-da! That's the Snark part. And I've already talked over you. 2 seconds in. Good start. Now, sorry, you were saying...
Howdy, it's me, Snark.
There we go. Lovely jubbly, as they say over here. Now, little bit of backstory. They totally say that. But I just said it. I showed you Only Fools and Horses. That was a show. Rambling within 60 seconds. We should start this again, but no. Okay, now, little bit of backstory. Me and young Snarksimus over here have known each other online for about a decade, and for the past 2 or 3 years, we used to say, we should do something like a podcast together. That seems like a good idea, and today is that day, finally, for reasons that we won't go into right now, because it's too top-heavy. Now, the point of this podcast is we are both going to bring in things that we want to discuss with each other. Because young Snark here is the most intelligent person I've ever met. And I just like getting her opinion on things. So I'm like, hey, maybe other people want to hear what we have to say. I say we while monologuing for 5 minutes. Now it's your turn to say something. Yeah.
Well, I'm very honored that you feel like I'm one of the more intelligent people, even though I just stumbled over saying that. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if anyone wants to actually hear us, but I have things to say if they want to. If they want to hear it.
Don't start with the self-depreciation already. Come on. Don't kick us while we're down. We've got to build ourselves up. People are losing their interest already. I blame me. I'm not wearing my best dress today.
I also blame you.
Well, that makes 3 of us. Okay, so I'll let you go first, ladies and all that business. So, what is your first discussion topic that you want to bring in and spew a bunch of BS about? Because that's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
The first thing I want to bring up is the topic of cringe culture, which is making fun of something that's currently popular at the time. And I just want to know what your opinion is on it. I have some opinions I could share, but I want to know what you think of the whole trend of doing that, even though said thing could be pretty harmless.
Okay, if you give me your opinion of it, I'll chime in with mine afterwards, because I don't want to go in balls deep on something I am indifferent towards at the best. So, you go ahead. Yeah.
Okie doke. My opinion on cringe culture is I actually think it's pretty harmful. Because all it's really doing is hurting people that already tend to get hurt in their daily lives. And I also think it just... Okay, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I keep running into videos and people just talking about those new fidget toys called spinners. And, like, not yet, the video doesn't even have to be about that topic. And suddenly be like, oh, I'm watching a video about Bendy and the Ink Machine, and suddenly like, oh, those spinners, they sure do suck, am I right? And it's like, god damn it, I'm not here for that. I'm here to watch literally what Bendy and the Ink Machine, and they just start going off on that as like a side note. And I just feel like not only as a toy itself, it's pretty harmless. Like, yeah, there are kids out there that are abusing those type of things when it comes to like playing with them and
trying
class.
To be Batman, yes. It's like, you see that guy over there? Whoosh! Got him.
Yes. Yeah, the kids that like don't actually need them are using them and causing a distraction and things like that. And so I can understand like that being harmful, and I do think that is harmful. But the kids that are like owning them, not only to like help them with their problems, but also the kids that are just own them because, hey, this looks cool to me. I don't see a problem with that. I don't see why people are making it such a fuss. Like, it's not that important. If you don't care about it, just move on with your life rather than spending like a huge portion of your time just bitching about it.
You said the B word.
I did say the B word. But not only that, it's also the fact that things like these, you kind of want them to be popularized so that they're cheaper, because you need them so that the people that do have to use them are able to afford them. Because that's like the things like, do you remember like a few years ago, I say a few and it's probably been like closer to 10 years, you remember the Snuggies?
We come from very different backgrounds, young lady, but is that just like a huggable person for the kids who have autism or something, but just still need that affection?
No.
I was close. 2 no's. That's not 3 no's.
A Snuggie is, my brain is like trying to describe what it is. Think of it like a, kind of like a backwards coat, but it's usually made out of like a blanket material. So it's really soft, and when they were advertising them so like, oh hey, you can just take these out with you when you're watching your kids on those early morning soccer games. It's for all those fun moms, and oh hey, you can also use it around the house instead of grabbing a blanket. But the thing is, that was invented by a disabled person for disabled people to have something to put on to keep them warm, because a lot of people with wheelchairs can't just get up and put a coat on. And so even though they were marketed, because they have to be marketed for like, oh, the average normal everyday person, so that these can be made and produced in a way that it's cheaper. Because if everybody can buy it, then like, oh, the people that actually need them are able to buy it.
But what is their purpose, though? Is it just for people who get anxiety? Because I saw there was a little dice or something like that, or a little die with, it had an analog stick on one, a little roller ball on another side, just to give your fingers something to do. Because I fidget with things. I'm not right now, surprisingly, but normally I'd be opening and closing a glasses case without even realizing it, or rummaging something with my foot. Is that basically its purpose?
Yes, that's called a fidget cube, and that's pretty much the same type of concept. It's to give you something to do to distract yourself from the anxious feeling, or like some people use it for like ADHD to try and help them.
But what are people's issues with it, though?
The people who have like issues with it tend to be either people that are tired of hearing about it, or there's like a few like teachers and schools who have been like pretty upset about kids having them, because they're like, oh, it's a distraction for the teachers because they have to deal with it. But it's like, if it's helping your kids focus and making their grades better, which I've heard from teachers that has been a thing, then like, what's the problem?
Well, back in my day, you couldn't even bring sweets to school. If you brought one in, you were seen as the villain of all of the children. It's just, well, so, I don't know, I haven't been to school in a very long time, but if this is helping people, and there's proof that it's helping people, I don't really see the issue with it. But, going back to what you were originally saying, though, in terms of popular culture...
Cringe culture.
Yes. Does this translate to popular TV shows as well, and things like that? Because that's what I thought you meant, first of all, with something... I mean, stop me if this isn't what you're referring to, but I thought it meant something like how I used to be obsessed with Family Guy for the first 3 seasons, and I thought it was one of the smartest written shows ever, but then as it gained popularity, it just became this lowest common denominator kind of show where it kind of lost its voice and just became this mediocre thing that everyone just latched onto and started quoting stupid things of, and I'm just like, no, what are you doing? And then I became that guy who didn't like it anymore and kind of hated on it. I'm just like, you ruined this. What have you done? You damn dirty apes. This is why we can't have nice things. But I don't know if that's what you're referring to at all. But still.
Not exactly. They're, like, popular TV shows can be a thing, but it's more talking about like anything that's like popular to either watch or do, and you usually have somebody in the background kind of just going like, oh, those people like this thing. It's making me angry that they like this thing.
Ah, so it's popular to shit on it, basically.
Yes, that's what cringe culture refers to.
Like those Modern Warfare video games, yes.
Well, the example I was going to give was there's like a lot of younger kids like to create what they call self-inserts, which is just designing characters of themselves to fit into their favorite TV shows. And a lot of people like to make fun of kids for doing that. And it's like, well, first of all, you're making fun of like a 13-year-old, which is like kind of messed up to do in its own right. But not only that, but you're making fun of them for engaging in the things that they like.
They've got to learn someday, love.
But that's exactly what a lot of older fans do on the internet anyway. So it's like, why are you making fun of pretty much as a younger version of yourself?
I don't know. Teach them young. Put them on a better path. It's like, buddy. If you don't want to be stuffed in lockers or be drowned in toilets with swirling twosies all about, then maybe don't be that guy. How about that? So,
but I don't think...
Maybe don't ask who could win in a fight, Goku or Naruto. There you go. Save yourself some trouble.
But I don't think we should live in a society where we, like, be down for people for liking things. I think we should build them up. If you see somebody that's like a young, first starting artist, I think you should be more the type to go like, hey, I like this about the picture that you drew. You're doing good. I hope you continue drawing, and then maybe over time you'll get even better.
Or you look at them and think, shit, they've got potential. I need to destroy that now before they take over my role. Boo hiss boo. There you go. You're like, that's the worst thing. I wouldn't even wipe my ass with that drawing. And then secretly you're thinking, God damn it, that belongs in a museum, a gallery. That's priceless. So, there you go. Knock them down to make yourself feel better. Passive-aggressive power plays. It makes the world go around. But no, I know what you mean. So...
Yes. I just wish we as a people, we would kind of like start getting out of like that type of mindset. Because like I know what it was like to be made fun of a lot when I was younger. And I think if you know what it's like, then you should turn around and like help the younger children. Help anybody really. Just like, hey, everything will be okay. You just keep doing what you love, and maybe someday a career can even happen out of this.
I don't know. I'm still waiting on becoming a fairy princess astronaut. Still waiting. That dream has yet to be realized, so...
Yes, but you have been doing a lot of voice acting stuff lately, so you might get to voice a fairy princess astronaut.
It's not
and
the same.
Isn't voicing kind of like being the character?
Tiara or it's not even worth it. Just get the fuck out. Don't even waste my time.
You want me to get you a tiara?
Yes.
I'll get you a tiara.
I've been hinting for 29 birthdays, okay? My first words. Tiara. So, anyway, enough of that. Anything else to bring up on that point? Because it's a tricky one, that. I can't stand people who shit on things just because they're popular, as if, but they've got nothing to... It's basically bulletproof, but they're like, I don't like it because other people like it. There are people out there, they're always the party poopers, and those people... There's a picture going around where someone just closes their lips and says, shh, let us have nice things. And, I'm that guy. I can be happy for people without giving the slightest of shits about what they're happy about. I care that you care. That's been my thing for quite some time, so... And if people are enjoying things and it's not hurting you, what's the problem? If you don't like it, don't expose yourself to it. There you go. I mean, no one's locking you in a room and doing that... Was it? I don't know what movie that is, where the guy's in the chair and they kind of like tape his eyelids back and force him to watch something. I'm gonna say Clockwork Orange. Don't think it is that. But yeah, no one's doing that.
Actually, I think that is that.
Hooray for things. I mean, it's like that PewDiePie guy. He's the most popular... No, you corrected me. There we go. Or confirmed it. Affirmation. Yeah. Ego boost. But yeah, it's like that PewDiePie. It was very popular to hate on him for a while because he had the most subscribers on YouTube, but at no point did anyone ever force me to watch that. In fact, it had the opposite effect, because I found out who PewDiePie was through people hating him. I'm like, okay, you've piqued my curiosity now, let me check this out. I'm like, not for me, but it's not bad. I see why people like that. So it's just, like the Modern Warfare games. For years, people hated those. They're like, it's too, it's, everyone just complains because of how popular it is. But I played a few of those, and some of the stories are quite good in those. So, again, not really for me, but if people like that, as long as they're, because it's not a zero-sum thing, really. If people seem to think that it's taking away resources from making things that they like, but I'm finding things all the time that it feels like they're made for me. So I'm like, hey, you've got this thing you can enjoy, I won't shit on that, you enjoy that, and I've got this thing here for me. Isn't it great that we have choices in life? So, anyway, but that's all I pretty much have to say about that. Anything else you want to mention there?
No, I pretty much agree with what you're saying. I think that's the perfect mindset to have. It's, if you don't like something, ignore it and go find something you do like.
Yeah. I mean, this is a bit out of nowhere, but a friend of mine had a kid recently. And for me, I go back and forth between the dream of being a wife and daughter, just being like, yeah, that's the dream, to other times being like, that would be an absolute nightmare, because that's a fate worse than prison. You're locked into this thing for 18 years minimum. Oh no, suddenly you have responsibilities. Yeah. But a friend of mine, he got married and had a kid within a span of 12 months, and I couldn't be more happy for him. Every time he posts a picture of his kid, I'm giving it thumbs up, because, it's not an everyday thing with him. Some people, it's like, okay, get over yourself. But anyway, and, I can be happy for him without wanting that necessarily for myself. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. That's the end of that. Actually, there is one very last thing on that. I recently got into that whole Hatsune Miku thing, and that's the perfect example of what I thought you meant originally, where apparently that's super popular among a very niche group of people, and they can't stand that it has become more mainstream recently. But it hasn't deteriorated in quality at all, it's just more people know about it, but now people are like, I liked it before it was cool. I'm like, yeah, but it's still good. Just because I found it out found out about it recently and am now enjoying it, we can bond over this. It's like, no, that was so 2012. So, I'm onto this new thing now, with their little scarves and coffee cups. But anyway, so, any very last things on that, even though I've said that 4 times?
No, I'm good.
This is why editing is our friend. Okay, now, on to my fancy topic, and I don't quite know where we're going to go with this. It's going to go way off into the weeds, I'm sure. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the whole idea of an afterlife and what happens after you die, and I'm sure that'll drift off into the meaning of life. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because I had a little existential crisis through having an ant invasion recently, where I saw an ant on the kitchen table and I kind of left it there, because I thought, it's just one. Yeah, I don't know how this got here on the 3rd floor, but that's fine. You can crawl around on the table. It's fine. But then I looked at the floor and I thought, there's another one there under that table. And then I looked, and it was like that scene from Tom and Jerry where they're all trying to take over the picnic. And it's just like, oh my god. So I thought, okay, I can't let this be a thing. So I didn't want to kill them. I really didn't, but then it led to that.
That's what they all say.
I know.
They all say that.
That's how that's how it starts. It starts with an ant. Next thing you know, you've got a basement full of body parts. We've all been there. So what I did is I tried to step on it, but then somehow it survived, and I thought, ooh, that's a resilient little fucker. So I got a piece of tissue and squished it with that, and then it survived that. So I tried to do the 1-2 knockout punch. Put the tissue there, stomped on it with my shoe, did a little bit of a moonwalk on it, and it still survived. Barely even a scratch. So I thought, okay, shit's getting real now. If this is one I'm having a problem with, and there's at least 10 under there I saw scurry under, we need to bring out the waterboarding techniques. So Suddenly I went from being passive-aggressive to just all-out military. It's me again. I'm outnumbered, but not out-resourced. So I got a little jar or a little glass of water and just dipped some kitchen roll in there, being very fancy. The signs of autism are there. I've been told many times I'm like Mr. Bean. And then I just squished it. So it's basically has no air and is drowning in this little tissue filled with water. And then that killed it. And I was like, there we go. But then I didn't realize how combined or one-minded or uniminded or what hive-minded, that's the term, even though they're not bumblebees or wasps. I'll edit this bit out, don't worry. Editing is our friend. And then I'm just going to call him Jeff. Jeff came out to see where Thomas was. It's like, hey, I remember Thomas coming through this route a moment ago. Where is he? All I see is this wet tissue on the floor. So then I picked it up and went, surprise, squish. And then they're like, hey, I saw Jeff and Thomas come out here a moment ago. I was like, hey, and then Bill comes out, squished him, then whatever other names I haven't said. Basically, 20 to 30 ants later of doing this exact same thing and me being like, wow, I thought lemmings were bad. And just crushing them all with this one tissue and just having this mountain of wet tissues with crushed ants under them. And I felt really bad. I just sat down on the kitchen chair and thought, what? They didn't deserve to die. Who am I to do this to these 30 creatures? What am I bringing to the world? Who the fuck am I to do this? And then that got me thinking about how every day of my life I've eaten meat to a certain extent, or every other day. And I'm thinking all of these animals have died to keep me going for just an extra day or two. And what's it all for? You see all these military movies where people take a bullet for the other guy because they feel like the other guy's got something else he can achieve, the greater good, as it were. But I'm thinking, what the fuck am I doing? You know, ignoring this podcast and us wanting this to be a success. Beyond that, this was days ago. Days ago, this wasn't the plan. I'm just sitting there thinking, what's it all for? Hundreds of animals have died, thousands even, and now these 30 ants. I'm a serial killer. And then I put the value of life on different things. I'm like, if you murder a baby, even your own baby, if you somehow, they die through neglect, you go to prison. You're like, hey, I made that. I can murder that if I want. It doesn't work like that. But, you know, if you run over a dog or a cat or some bullshit, no one seems to care. You hit a deer, you just think, oh, now I gotta pay for the repairs on that car now. That, you've inconvenienced me, dear. But, yes. So, but you kill 30 ants, no one bats an eyelid, no one cares. You swat a fly, no one cares. And it's just, it made me think about the value of life to different people. I'm just like, what? Why am I more important than that? Why does that pay off? And then, I don't know. So, that, all of that rambling, just, what's your take on the value of life and what, you know, where do you think it all leads? What's the point of everything? There are some heavy questions for you. Boom!
Yes.
That's quite the step up from fidget spinners.
Yeah, no kidding.
But if you want to dissect any of that, I was going to bring an abortion, but that's too heavy for the first episode. Anyway,
we'll save that for episode 2.
Yes, we'll save that for Mother's Day. So, anyway. Father's Day.
Yes. I think when it comes to, like, the value of life, while I do eat like meat and things like that, I honestly, if you asked my cousins, they would probably think I'm like total monsters since they're totally vegan. But I do know that when it comes to things like that, like, yeah, in nature, animals, there are species of animals that do have to eat other animals in order to survive. And as a species, we are omnivores, which means we need both that protein and we need the vegetation. And the thing is, while there are people out there that can survive on a total vegetation diet, there are also people who can't. Even if they wanted to, they just physically can't do that because this is how we are designed. But I don't think that means that the life of other animals are, like, less than we are. Because, like, I think they are equally life forms. I think their lives matter, but it's just, this is the circle of life. And I think this also gets into a complicated territory of the topic of destiny type of stuff as well. Not that I don't know if I completely believe in that type of stuff, but I think that's what a lot of things like help people when it comes to like religion and things like that. I think it makes people feel better to think that, hey, everything I went through has a meaning. And I think it's cool to let people believe that. Sometimes I even fall into that habit, like, hey, all these bad things that happened to me, all these surgeries that I've had, this life of being disabled and things like that. It feels better to think, hey, maybe this all happened for a reason. Even like maybe I needed these struggles to either like make myself have a certain mindset or sympathy in order to relate to other people. Maybe I needed this mindset and like these trials to like push harder on myself in order to like achieve something. Because like I know that this type, like being disabled and stuff like that, has actually really helped me when it comes to doing my art. And so why wouldn't someone like find comfort in the thought of that? Like, oh hey, my art is better because of all these years of practicing and using art as a coping mechanism. Maybe this was destiny. Maybe it was supposed to happen. Like, I'm sure that sounds silly to some people, but and heck, it sounds silly to me sometimes. But I think, like I said, there is a comfort in it, and I think that's why people do create the comfort of, hey, an afterlife. I would like that to exist because I feel comfortable knowing that, hey, I'm going to see all my family members again someday. Or some people find comfort in, oh, hey, when I die, I'm going to be just carbon, just like everything else in the universe is. I'm just going to die and become a part of something else. I will become part of the earth once again. And some people find comfort in that. And sometimes you have my sister who decides, instead of paying me commission money, to go and go see a psychic and ask about our grandpa dying. Yay! You have those people too.
Yes.
So yeah, that's pretty much my mindset is, yes.
Oh, all I was going to say is, for as long as I've known you, your thing has been, you want to be remembered after you die. That, whether it's through your artwork being shared for generations, or you put a book out or something, or just... And I've always said to you that you can leave a mark. It doesn't have to be on a grand scale. You can leave a mark to just a few people, and that can make a difference. And I try to have that laser focus with people, because I know some people, they watch the news and they see all of the death and horrible things going on, and it depresses them. But the thing is, there are just as many good things going on in the world, but you've just kind of got to pick your battles. If you're only one person and you're powerless to stop world wars going on, then maybe just try and downscale or downsize what it is you can achieve and make a difference with. And whether it's just boosting someone's self-esteem, go into one of those Big Brother or Big Sister programs where you kind of help people out, or maybe adopt a child or something, just something to help someone out. Even just, hell, like I keep saying, my favourite things in the world to do are make people smile and laugh, and I feel like that's doing something. That's instant gratification. Instead of, no one wants to feel like they're a monster and being a shitty person who's bringing nothing into the world and not contributing in the slightest. So there's that. And one thing I wanted to bring up about afterlife, a lot of people, I know they go into religion because, I don't want to make this about religion too much, but a lot of people, they think that there's something better going on afterwards, and they want to be the best person they can be on Earth to then go off to heaven or whatever it is they believe in terms of their religion. And I've heard a lot of people, they say people who aren't religious, they're horrible people or they have no reason to be good. But I don't know, for me, I don't see it, because I'm not religious, I'm not against anyone's religion. If it helps you get through the day, more power to you. And if it's one of those religions where it makes you want to do nice things, and you believe in an afterlife and greater good after that, and that's what makes you not want to shotgun someone who's a different skin colour to you or whatever, then more power to you, Chief. Hooray. But for me, I don't want to be an arsehole. I try to be the best person I can be, and That's not for any kind of gain or after rewards. It's just, that's how I want to be. People say, do unto others as you want others to do to you, or some phrase that's not completely butchered there, but still. But I'm thinking, if this one guy I used to talk to, he said that he was basically experiencing hell on earth. He hated every single day. He was in constant pain, but he felt like he at one point God was going to reach out to him and free him from all of this. And I don't know.
That sounds so sad.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what's getting you through the day, but I'm just thinking, look around you. There are things going on around you that are actually still worthwhile. Don't see this as some kind of 70-year purgatory where you're just waiting for something to happen. Because no one knows what the future holds. Maybe this is as good as it gets, so just try to make the most of it. I will.
I also think, as you know, I have fibromyalgia, so I'm in constant pain every day, too. And, it would be nice if I wasn't in pain, but I still enjoy life. I still find pleasures in life. I'm able to find distractions in order to not think about or experience the pain as bad, and I've said this for the longest time. No matter everything I've went through, I still want to live. In fact, when I was dying in the hospital at 13, I wanted to live so bad. Sure, I haven't done too much, but it's I still wanted to live. I didn't want to die. This was not my time. I did not want to go.
You've done more than most people I've known.
Yes. But yeah, I'm just saying, there's been a thing with me, no matter how horrible my life can get at times, and I've been annoyed, a whole heck of a lot lately because of family issues, but even besides that, I don't want to, stop living. If I do that, then I won't be able to experience any of the good. Yeah, I won't be able to experience any of the negatives either, but that's the thing about life. You have to have the ups and downs, because the downs exist, but doesn't it feel nice when good things happen? Doesn't it feel nice when you help others, and when you watch your favorite television shows, when you are out with your girlfriend, anything like that? Doesn't it feel nice to experience these good things?
Well, that kind of teeters towards suicide, which is a whole other thing that I don't really want to get into right now, but I know a lot of people, they just can't stand living and they want to end it, but you, like you just alluded to there, you don't know what tomorrow holds. Even if it feels like you're drowning right now, you never know what's round the corner. So, I mean, there have been several times in my life where I thought, wow, there's no light at the end of this tunnel, especially when you're in school and you don't know any better. From age 5 onwards, all you know is school and it's hell. You're just well, is this it? Is this it till the day I die? But then, at my point in life, I can't even really remember school. It seems like a distant memory, but there was a time where it's this hell is never going to end. Yeah, all of the bullies. So, just stick with life, everyone, because no one knows what the future holds, but what you can do is make the most of the moment you're in. So, yeah, which you clearly are, because you're listening to this. Thank you. You've made a wise choice. Yeah. So, I mean, that was all over the place, because that's how that was surprisingly not quite as all over the place as I thought it would be. So, there you go. We touched on about 15 different things there. Anything else you want to add to that? I feel like there's no bow that...
There is one thing I wanted to add, because when you were talking about the ants, I wanted to interrupt you so badly about the scientific aspect of why ants, follow like that. And so I'm going to touch on that real quick, and then we can move on. I'm sorry, this is just the nerd in me, going Nyeh.
I do have a follow-up to that.
You're wrong.
Oh, I'm wrong. You're telling me my Tom and Jerry experience of them going all on the beach and them picking up his entire picnic basket or whatever it was through about 12. You're telling me that's not real? A talking mouse and a talking cat? I don't want to hear it. You've lost me. I'm sorry.
Well, you're going to hear it anyway. See, the thing is, ants, when they walk about, they secrete a little bit of pheromone where they're going, because that makes it easier for the ants, like the fellow colony ants, to follow. And so what they do is they'll leave their secretions, and then they'll find, oh, hey, here's the food, and they'll circle around it before going back and, like, pretty much telling the others, like, hey, I found a thing. But in the case like this, you have it so that you're, like, these ants are, like, leaving this trail, and they're not hearing anything back from their, like, fellow, like, friends, and it's like, hey, what's up with this? Hey, let's go send out the next person to see what's up. Maybe they found something and they're trying to bring it back. Or maybe they're traitorous bastards and just, like, gonna eat everything for themselves.
Yeah.
So go out there, go and find that food. And then you just killed all of them.
It was a bit horrific, I have to say, not to bring it back to that, but there were some that were still alive, but they were crushed to the point where it was just like a squished head with a little antenna. And
you'd be like, them going like, help me, help me.
I mean, the one that made me really go on the existential crisis there was, I lifted up the tissue and one was crawling on its front little, I guess legs, or little hands or whatever, little claws. Yes. And I was just like, oh, no, you don't. Because I crushed it again. I was like, what have I become? 10 minutes ago, this seemed like a horrible thing. And then now I'm 25 ants deep and I'm just like, you fuckers. Shining a torch under the table being like, yes, you come to that little bit of water and then bait and switch. But I felt really bad, though, because there was one. There was one left and I couldn't get to it. And I left it there because I'm like, what can one do? But I just thought, wow, considering how much they use the buddy system, I just ruined that guy's. That's a fate worse than death at this point. He lost all of his friends and family, and he's somewhere. He doesn't know where he is. He didn't bring his bus pass. He's like, they know the way. I'll just follow them. And now that's it. He's in a kitchen about 10,000 times longer than him, and it's just like, where do you go from there? There's no food. It's going to starve to death. But yes, I got no enjoyment out of that. And as I said to someone else, they didn't deserve to die. But it needed to be done. Because, like with mice, you got 30 mice, next thing you know, they're taking over. The walls are mice. Everywhere is mice. You're slipping on Cocoa Pops on the floor. Anyway, this has nothing to do with anything. I don't think anything was accomplished through this. But, yes. So, if any ants are listening, don't come into my fucking kitchen, alright? You've been warned. And I think that's pretty much that. So, now, full disclosure, I haven't thought of a second thing to bring up this episode. So, I'm going to bounce it back to you. And hopefully I come up with something. If not, we'll end it at 3. Because that went on for a very long time. Okie
dokie. Because I do have a second topic, and not only that,
look at you.
But it's a fun one.
Oh, look at me. I actually I made it some effort. Do. That's you. That's what you sound like.
You told me to make effort. You told me, like, oh, you have a week. Go think of some stuff. Think of 2 topics. And I was like, all right. And I didn't think I would be able to do it, but I did it. And I wrote it down, and I memorized it.
Well, why'd you write it down if you memorized it,
Because I don't trust my memory, and I thought I was going to forget it.
Fair enough.
But apparently I really wanted to shove in your face that I could remember it.
Well, fine.
But yes, my second topic is, I know that you like to play a lot of video games.
Well there, allegedly. I'm not a nerd.
I've seen your videos multiple times. They're on your channel. You like to play video games.
Allegedly.
But yes, and I too like to play video games, and I don't know if you ever thought about it. Yes, okay, I admit it. The person who's named after Darkwing Duck is a total nerd. Surprise, surprise.
Is that what that is? I thought that was a sexual euphemism. But carry on.
Yes, but yeah, as someone that likes to play video games, I've also thought of the idea of, hey, if I can make a video game, what would it be about? Would I want to do this? What type of game would this be? What would the themes be? And stuff like that. And I was wondering if you've ever thought the same thing. Have you ever thought about, hey, if you had the opportunity to make a video game, what type of game you would want to make?
Now, do you want the short version or the long version? Because we're going back 20 years now. That's the thing. So I could be like, back in 3rd grade. Oh, don't even get me started. It's up to you.
I want the long version now.
I'm sorry, audience. You've been warned. So, okay. Well, it all started back in the early days of when video games... Oh, I said video games there. There we go. Those were fun too. Back when they were nice and simple. Just 2D things where you go left to right. I grew up with things like Sonic the Hedgehog and Vector Man and Lemmings. So I'd have all these notepads where I would just map out levels. And I had this entire scrapbook of making a Sonic game back in the day. Because it was easy. You just draw platforms. And there you go. And that was my passion. I wanted to make video games for the longest time. But as I got older, video games became more and more complicated, and they went from something you could just do by yourself to being something that required years of your life and hundreds of people. And it's... Who's got that kind of time? And $1 million budgets? And it's just... It passed me by. And meanwhile, my other passion, animation, became easier, because that went the opposite route, where you no longer need to be this studio cutting together physical film and drawing cell animation. You can just use Flash, and everything became easier there. And it's like, hey, that was always my backup plan. And by that point, my testicles had dropped, so I no longer sounded like Mickey Mouse. So there we go. And that became a whole thing with realizing that voice actors do different voices. And there you go, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole thing. Not for now. But yeah. And there were games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Micro Machines that let you make your own levels. So, I always used to be the horrible person who would make just absolute bastard levels with death traps everywhere. It's called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but it was more like, hey, get to that one block over there if you can get to it, underneath, behind all these spike pits. So, that was a thing. And for the longest time I wanted to make levels in Lemmings. But by the time they had a level editor, I had stopped caring. It's like, where was this 10 years ago? And there was a debug mode and so on. You see, you've really set me off now on my nerdy side. But there was a mode in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 where you could actually become objects and you could place enemies everywhere. So whoever was Tails, usually my cousin, I would just place platforms for him to jump on and then delete them and create spike pits and enemies. So that was fun. But the real turning point for me, that really changed everything and made me want to go down more of a voice acting route, because I'm like, well, show's over. Nothing I can do in the video game world anymore. It's been done. Wave the white flag, is when Shenmue came out, because one game I wanted to make was the idea where you could just explore a world as some guy, and there was a real-time clock going on, and you could talk to everyone, and shops would open at certain times, and you could play games within games, and you could buy little toys of different things, and just basically live in this world, get jobs if you wanted to. And yeah, that turned out to basically be what Shenmue ended up being, and it's just like, well, this is exactly the game I would have made. So that saved me 5 years of my life and $70 million. Thank you for that. And there's a whole other thing about me waiting 14 years for Shenmue 3, but no, that's not what this is right now. So, it's coming out this year apparently. Woo. Anyway, so that's that. If I were to make a game, it would... If you're talking younger me, I'd have made a Sonic the Hedgehog game. If you're talking teenage me, I'd have made Shenmue. If you're talking now, I wouldn't even care anymore. I'm like, it's all good. You know, most games I play these days are just quick little 5-minute things on my phone. Or those music games, because that's multitasking. You're discovering new music while pressing buttons in time to things. Yeah. There's also a new Sonic game coming out that tapped into my nostalgia and made me actually... My eyes water up as I heard the background music. I'm like, this is taking me back to a better time. A time I'd never want to return to, but a better time. Things were simple back then. I didn't have hair in places... Are you
talking about the Sonic game where you can create your own character and play the levels as your own character?
Not that one. That's for the sexy furries and weeaboos. It was the 2D one, which takes place...
I want to play that game, though.
No comment. I mean, it's one of those... Well, it's like the Saints Row games, for example. Those are some of my favourite games of all time, not including the third one. We don't talk about Saints Row 3. Anyway, but that had a character creator, and that really made it a very personal experience for me, because You could make a Cockney British guy with a top hat who just goes around, and you could give yourself compliments and taunts. And you can be like, looking good, mate. And give it a thumbs up, or be like, go fuck yourself. Just to anyone. I'm just like, there you go. That's how you make a game. So, what about you, young lady? Since it's your discussion.
I have thought about it. Like, I don't think it's ever been a time where I thought like, oh, hey, I could make video games. But I've always like had the thought of, oh, hey, if I made a video game, this is what I would make. And the thing is, I really like platformer games, but I also really like rhythm music games. And my idea was, I thought it would be really neat if you tried to combine the two. But more in the sense, like not at the same time. That would be like way too much stuff going on. I was thinking more in the sense of like, oh, hey, here's a story where you have to, like, through each level, go through, like, the platformers, dodge and destroy obstacles that are in your way. And then at the end, you would have the big boss battle. And the big boss battle would be the one where you did the music rhythm game. And I thought it would be really fun to have, like, a whole bunch of levels with new original songs. Like, kind of reminds me of, like, that Nightmare Before Christmas game. Like, every time
I was about to say that, yes.
Yeah, like when you had those boss battles, and it just felt like a big musical number. And yeah, you just like stop and just like play, and you have your characters dancing / fighting. And I thought like, hey, that would be like a really great idea for a game. Like if I would love to do that if I ever made my own game, like have that as the boss battle. But I think if I did it, I want to do it in CGI type of animation, because I preferred the 2D look a lot more, so I'd probably have it a bit more looking like Shovel Knights and
I was playing
like
that the other
Alien
day.
Hominid type of stuff. Ooh.
It's good.
But yeah, I'll probably have it look more like that. And I would go into like more details, because I've even thought about stuff like who I would want voice acting who and things like that. But I don't know if
John DiMaggio will get the fuck out.
That was actually one of the voices. I wanted him to voice your moth companion character. Just have him like cracking jokes at you and like pretty much.
Look at you typecasting. When isn't he playing a moth? I mean, come on.
I know, right? I should really help John DiMaggio break his mold, am I right?
Yes, you should make him voice a New York accent dog. That'll be a change of pace.
I think that's too out of his range. I don't think John DiMaggio has the capability to just talk normally.
Still.
I'm saying it's either the Joker voice he does, or the Dr. Draken voice he does, or no dice.
We don't talk about Draken. We don't... What am I saying? But yes, carry on. It's going to go into a whole in-joke there, but no one would get that, so you carry on.
Yes, but yeah, that pretty much it. I don't want to say like too much, because who knows, I might have the chance someday to make the game, and then someone would have already stolen my idea. But
funny you say that, young lady. Like with you and the ants, I was thinking, oh buddy, I don't want to break your heart right now, but there's like 6 games I could I could just bring to your attention. But no, there's room for a 7th one.
But the point is not the fact that things already exist, because like
that you make it better.
Like no ideas are like truly original. It's about like your concept and what ideas you can put out there, because everybody, like, they might not have like an completely original idea, but they have original influences from their life and what they experience, and those influences do get into your work. And I feel like my life is unique enough. I'm a unique enough person that I think I could make a really fun and new experience for people.
I never said you couldn't. I want to make that clear. I'm just saying you need to basically observe the competition, find their weaknesses, mate with their women, and then there you go. Rise the corporate ladder.
I think my wife would be mad at me if I made it with their women.
Just say it's for the greater good. Say it's a business trip. It needs to be done.
Yes, write it off in my taxes.
Yes. So there you go. Well, good luck with that. I'd play that. I mean, there are level editors in games where you can kind of do similar things to that if you don't want to get into coding and investing all of the monies. But you do have wonderful ideas, so whatever you put out, I'd be like, yeah,
yes, thank you.
I'll be your little cheerleader. I'll even wear the dress. And if someone says it's a kilt, I'll be like, no, it's not. It's a skirt. Don't try and save it for me. But anyway, okay, I think I've made... You can get away with 2 references towards effeminate things, but you make that 3rd one, and that's when people raise the eyebrow. Which brings me to my 2nd issue, which I thought of about 10 minutes ago. Now, as if my manly man cred has not gone completely out the window, I wanted to bring up... How do you feel about the idea of switching genders? Not us, not some Freaky Friday bullshit where I become you for a day, but, what are your thoughts on the idea of if you just woke up and were suddenly a man for about a week or something? What would you do? I mean, and vice versa. If I became a sweet set of titty woman for a week, just, what's going on there? What would you do?
I imagine...
Would you wear a tie and be like, hey, this actually looks appropriate for once? There you go. Carry on.
I imagine, and what the question is more like if I was physically a man, because like there's a difference if you want to go into like gender politics and stuff.
You know I don't.
I know you don't, which is why I'm gonna simplify the topic as if I'm still like myself.
No, you can't.
Mentally.
Feel free.
No, that's dangerous territory. I don't want to be killed. But no.
Well.
I'm gonna simplify the topic into being like, if I was suddenly a dude but still had the same mindset, what would I do? I think the first thing I would do is probably check out my junk. But...
There you go. See, I was gonna say that, but coming from you, it seems slightly less weird. So, do the old propeller thing, maybe the air guitar, whatever works.
Just go.
There you go. Realize how painful it is to sit on your balls accidentally. We've all been there. Don't deny it.
But yeah, in all honesty, I do think that would be something that you have to like figure out, especially because with the guy your genitalia is hanging out, and that is like learning how to like deal with it differently. Because like I'm sure that would be different when it comes to like wearing underwear, when it comes to sitting, when it comes to things like that. I'd probably like really work hard on trying to figure out that first, because it's like I can't function if I don't. Like, all right, how do I put this all in my underwear properly without it hurting and feeling bad or awkward?
Okay, let me put a slight spin on this, because here's the scenario. I just want to say this. Okay, so, everyday scenario, who hasn't had this happen, where an evil swamp lady puts a curse on you and says, for the next 7 days, you're going to be the opposite gender. So this isn't the rest of your life. It's 168 hours from now, you're going to go back to normal. So it's just like, do I even bother buying a new wardrobe? Do I try high heels? Do I even bother? Do I raid my mother or father's closet or brother, sister, whatever you got going on, and just be like, there you go, let's try these things? I don't know if that makes it any better for you. So it's not that weird. It's not the rest of your life. You don't have to change who you date and think, well, I guess this is my life now. It's just like, no. 7 days, and it'll never happen again. So it'll be like going to Disneyland. It's like, okay, once in a lifetime thing. We have to hug Mickey Mouse and kick Jafar in the balls. That's a rite of passage.
To be fair, like my clothes that I wear is pretty like masculine to like unisex or whatever. Like anybody can wear it. So like that wouldn't really be a problem for me. Like Actually, the best part would be like, haha, I don't have to wear a bra. Rip it off.
There you go.
Like, babies are free.
Well.
The thing is, what I'd probably do is, I probably honestly would do things that usually, which I think this is bullshit. I'm gonna say up front, but like usually. I did. I'm sorry. I can stop, but I won't.
It's fucking disgraceful, love.
Yes, totally. But yeah, I would do things like, for example, I get I get crap whenever I like try to wanna not wear a shirt around the house, but then if like my brother Darius or at the time when my sister's boyfriend was living at the house, if they did it, it was like, oh, it's fine, even though their nipples are still showing. So like I would probably explore that. I would probably like see what people's reactions are if I go out and about, like where everything else normally probably just don't have a shirt on. And I would probably make, if no one says anything, I would probably be like, hey, you see what I'm doing right here? It's cool if a girl does it. Don't try to like be sexist, brah.
Well, if you really want to freak people out, you can know exactly when you're going to change back genders and be like, hey, look at it. You want to see a neat trick? Ba-bam! So, there you go.
Just magically have them grow back. Like,
it'll be like Nutty Professor when he changes between the two people.
Yes. Go from a no cup to a double D cup.
We've all been there.
Bam. Yes. But in all honesty, like besides like probably experimenting a little bit, I probably wouldn't do much different because like my life is pretty much just, oh, I help out around the house. Though I do hope if I had a different body, I hope the dude version of me, it has like more energy and is like stronger, because then that would make my life so much easier.
Do tell.
Because like, oh hey, I gotta help wrangle this kid today. Oh look, I got muscles now. I can do it. Don't look at me, Mom. But yeah, so
keeping that in.
Like, yeah, look at me. I got those muscles. Or like, oh hey, I gotta help get grandma out of bed or something. Like, oh hey, look at this. I can do it with my pinky now.
Yes.
just like stuff like that. Like things that'll make it easier. Like, oh hey, I have more energy. I can get more stuff done around the house and then not feel completely tired at the end of the day. That would be nice. I want that.
And I'm hearing all of that and thinking, I don't even have that. But yes, so there's that.
I'm just saying, hey. If there's magic going on here, I would hope the witch would, or swamp lady or whatever, would at least be like nice enough to like, hey,
yes,
you get
a glorious Adonis, yes, the perfect specimen.
Actually, now that I think about it, my face is kind of like one of those faces where I could probably pass off as a dude anyway, so I probably wouldn't look that different.
You don't want a chiseled jaw and blonde hair that goes on for days? You know you do. That doesn't sound like a guy thinking about it.
I want a mustache. I want a mustache, though. I
want
that. I want that so bad.
You want the twirly one?
No, I don't want that. I want mutton chops.
You want to be like it from 1886 or something?
That reminds me though, when I did a cosplay of Dan from Dan Versus a few years ago, because I went to the Cincinnati Comic Convention, and yeah, like I put on like fake mustaches and not mustache, but a fake little goatee or whatever, and people legit thought I was a dude. It was kind of funny because we had to go to Chipotle afterwards, and like I was ordering and the woman just did like a double take. It was like, wait, that's not real? You're a chick? Like, oh yeah. It's like, wow. And then I remember going back home, looking in the mirror and going like, baby, I look good. I remember thinking that. I remember thinking like I'm one handsome man.
Like, I'm fabulous.
But yeah, so that's a thing. But yeah, what about you? What would you do?
Well, I feel like I've already made too many effeminate comments here, so I've got to be serious now. I can't really go into the whole fairy princess astronaut thing and how I'd look fabulous with sparkles and a tiara. Except you know I would. You know I would.
You would, though. You would. You would be a beautiful lady.
No, you're just saying that. But yeah.
No, I mean it.
Well, so, we've got the whole exploring the junk out of the way, but I don't know. I wouldn't go too crazy with that, I don't think. You know, maybe smack the butt, see if you could bounce a few coins off of it, throw a 10 pence piece at it, and see if you get back 2 5 pence pieces. I mean, that's That's just part of protocol, really. But I don't know, I think it would be an interesting social experiment, because I'm always hearing about how you walk along and, ladies get catcalled all over the place. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like that could get annoying to a certain extent, but not because as a guy, it's just like, psh, you take it as a compliment, love. But then I can see that getting to a point. It's like with my voice, for example, the amount of people who instantly say, oh, you sound like Stewie, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Every goddamn person, and they don't mean it as an insult most of the time, but it's just, when you get that from every single person, it's just like, really? There's a personality behind the voice, Chief. Does it have to be, I sound like this person or this person? Maybe I sound like me. How about that shit? Some of those voices existed after I were born, so they sound like me, goddammit. So, except Draken. He gets a pass. If anyone says you sound like Draken, which nobody does, then I'd be like, oh, that's the best thing you've ever said. Anyway, so, although one guy did say I sounded like Matt Berry randomly, I'm just like, this pleases me. So, there we go. But yeah, so I think that would be interesting. I mean, hell, today I had my own social experiment without realising it, where I went out listening to a podcast, that Here's What I Don't Get, with my earphones in, or little earbuds in, and I never do that, because I'm always conscious of not getting hit by traffic. That's the thing. I'm like, this can wait until I get back home and am safe again. But it was interesting because people got out of my way. Normally I'm so used to people coming up to me and asking for money because apparently glasses make you a millionaire. That seems like, oh, he's got glasses, he must be loaded. He's just giving free money away. That's how that works. And it's funny because people cross the road to ask me for things like that. But if I take my glasses off, suddenly I've got serial killer vibes because my pupils dilate and I start looking at the ground and just staring into space because I can't see one step in front of me. And people get out my fucking way. So that's fun.
I had that happen to me before.
See, there you go.
And in the sense of, like, I had someone, like, I had this a few times. People coming up to you and going like, oh, hey, can I ask you for money? Because honestly, you kind of look like the only person that hurt me for asking you this. I'm like, yeah, sure. Please go eat with this.
Yes. Don't buy babies to throw at walls. That's not fun. So, that's what I do with my spare money. Every Friday, some people go drinking, I go baby hurling. So,
do you ever get them far enough, though?
I'm working on it. A few more months at the gym and maybe I'll hit that broadside of the bar. Instead of just bouncing off the water or skipping like stones and then they drown on that third one. I'm like, I'll get to that for... This is taking a dark turn. Anyway, so, yes.
You're the one that brought up baby tossing.
Oh, it's all about me all of a sudden. So...
It's your podcast.
Oh, it's mine, is it? You've got the first syllable. It's the Snarkzuki. Anyway, enough about our balls. More about my boobs. My fabulous, sweet sedatives. Oh yeah, the earbuds thing, where people saw that I had earbuds and so they would just get out of my way. The same people that would make eye contact with me before and suddenly approach me, now they're just moving out of my way. Even my annoying neighbour, I said hello to them and I thought, here we go. But they saw I had earbuds in, so they just said hello and then went in their home. And it's like, I should do this more often. Jesus. So.
Looks like you found a life hack.
There you go. But I'm thinking in terms of into being a lady, it's just, I don't know. Because I think that would be interesting for a day or two. But I kind of like people not paying attention to me. That if I could just get through life with people not speaking to me unless I speak to them, that would be wonderful. I'm just like, hey buddy, I'm not out here to socialize and become best friends with strangers. I'm just out here to get where I need to go, and then I'm going to go back to where I need to go, and that's going to be my day. And I'm always hearing about, if you spend any kind of time online as a woman, and some people point that out in their online names. It's like Girl45 or something like that. So, and they say they don't want attention, but I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe don't do that. But that's victim blaming. Whatever. That's a whole other thing. But when it's unwanted attention, I feel like ladies do get that a lot more. And it is kind of sad online, because back when I used to play online games with people, the moment a lady's on there, it just everyone, all the guys are suddenly like 12-year-old prepubescent boys. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, you're a girl, and then it's funny because they'll make fun of the lady as if that's really going to get their attention. It's like, oh wow, thanks for making fun of me for 10 minutes straight. Here's my number. Be future hubby. I don't think it quite works like that. And everyone's like, I'm going to make fun of them more. Please notice me. So, well, you notice that whenever anyone posts a picture on Facebook or Instagram, it's just guys will. It almost becomes like a pissing contest in the comment section where they try and make jokes. It's like, notice me. I'm making a joke like I don't care, but that's because I care so much. Please notice me. Anyway, I'm dying on the inside. I'm so lonely. But yeah, so I don't know. It could be fun for a while, but ultimately I kind of like being a guy. So there's that. And that's not even touching on the subject of monthly cycles. I hope that I don't get that week, or maybe get the tail end of that, just a day or two, and be like, okay, here's the bit I'm glad I don't have. So,
yes.
Although there was a time in my life where it's like, I'll never experience childbirth. But then you see that enough times, and you're like, I'm glad I'll never experience childbirth. Hooray! So, that's pretty much it. You can tell I thought of this in the last minute. So, didn't really have anything planned for that. But there was a time when I was about 14 years old. You go through those rough puberty years where you're just like, I think life would be easier as a woman. But ultimately, I don't think it matters all that much. Just try to be the best person you can, Have a little self-confidence. Don't let people walk all over you. So, and no one has a right to your body, male or female. There you go.
You preach it, sister.
Yes. Power to the sisters. So, just because someone says hello or buys you a drink does not guarantee that, a kiss is not a contract, as Flight of the Conchords say. So, yeah.
Yes.
And don't drink any mysterious drinks. You can't trust anyone these days. And on that awkward note, I think we're all out of things to say. It's been a cool hour and 15 minutes, give or take a bit of editing. So, there's a bit of behind the scenes. So if this ends up being like 25 minutes, it's like, wow, they cut out all of that. So, you missed nothing. Nothing, I say. But yes.
They just probably missed mostly you cutting back rants that went nowhere. Sorry.
Yeah, that's my life in a nutshell right there. So, sending 5-minute rambles and being like, so what are your thoughts on that? It's like, thoughts on what? There were like 200 things there. I just said hello. So, it's like, don't even get me started. But yes, this was the first episode, perhaps the last, I don't know. There's a whole episode I want to talk about going to your art background, because I used to really be into artwork, and then I kind of dropped off around the age of 19. But you've still got that passion burning, and you're doing online comics with your friend Tindra. So there we go.
Yes.
So that could be a whole thing. But we need to check the audio quality of this, see how easy it is to edit. You got to walk before you can run. 2 people's audio syncing is 66% less. That's not the right number, but it's less than 3. We all know that 2 is less than 3. We figured that much out. Okay, gonna end this now. Thank you for listening to this if you did. If you didn't, you're not here anyway. So I can say go fuck yourself and you'll never know. If a guy says go fuck yourself in the woods, does anyone hear it? Maybe the trees, but trees don't have feelings.
You just hurt so many trees' feelings.
Well, I'm not near a tree right now, so they didn't hear it. But next time I go camping, which is never, fuck all of the trees. Yeah. Carve my initials in them. That's stuck in them forever. Anyway. This is all going to get cut. So, thank you for thank you for listening, everyone. Stay beautiful, and thank you for joining me, Snark. There we go.
Yes, thank you for having me, and bye-bye, everybody. It was nice having you listen.
And I want to leave with this bit of motivational advice. If at first you don't succeed, try again. But if it gets to like that 4th or 5th time, maybe pursue something else, Chief. It's not working for you. But okay.
Yeah, maybe it's you.
Yes.
Maybe you're the reason it's not succeeding.
You didn't want to say anything, but someone has to say it, okay? You're hanging around too nice of people. If they're still supporting you after that 5th or 6th failure, just stop. Okay. So, farewell.